From the vantage point of this House, Jackson was at best a politician not to be trusted completely. In late 1824, Jefferson told Daniel Webster during a visit here that he, Jefferson, felt, quote, much alarmed at the prospect of seeing General Jackson become president. He is one of the most unfit men I know of for such a place. He has very little respect for laws or constitutions. So tell us what you really thought, Mr. Jefferson. As usual with Mr. Jefferson, though, there is contrary evidence. Jefferson's rather like the Bible or Winston Churchill. You can find something to quote in support of almost any proposition, and it's all equally eloquent. In 1819, Jefferson wrote Jackson of the gratitude of the country for the general's military victories, praising Jackson's salutary energies, calling him the people's great benefactor, and saluting him with assurance of his constant and affectionate attachment and high respect. For his part, Jackson saw himself as a figure of restoration in the Jeffersonian mold. Just as the third president believed his election was a mandate to return to the principles of 1776 against the prevailing federalism of the day, Jackson saw his own victory in 1828 as a mandate to return to what Jackson often called the Jeffersonian Republican School. A boy soldier during the Revolution, Jackson revered that generation of leadership even when he disagreed with it politically. In a letter drafted in 1822 to Jefferson, Jackson told the sage of Monticello that, quote, hoping that your health and life may be long preserved for the benefit of society and the literary world. That is the fervent wish of your friend and obedient servant. Intellectual honesty compels me to point out that Jackson used 2 T's in literary. It's that goddamn Sewanee honor code. There is a line, to be sure, it's jagged, between Jefferson and Jackson and our own time. Though they could not know what they were doing, the third and the seventh presidents helped create and preserve a nation that has ultimately come to embrace wider and once unthinkable principles of diversity and democracy. Without Jefferson and without Jackson, we would be living in a different world. It is not given to us to know what that world would be like, but I think on the whole we are living in a better, brighter age because of them than we would have had if they had not lived and fought and cared and died for the causes they loved. I'd like to close with the thoughts of a man who loved Monticello and savored the hospitality of Albemarle County. Franklin Roosevelt, in dedicating the Jefferson Memorial on a cold day in April 1943, said, Thomas Jefferson believed as we believe in man. He believed as we believe that men are capable of their own government and that no king, no tyrant, no dictator can govern for them as wisely as they can govern for themselves. He believed as we believe in certain inalienable rights. He, as we, saw those principles and freedoms challenged. He fought for them as we fight for them. President Roosevelt saw Jackson in the same instructive light, arguing that Jackson was always relevant because the battles he fought for the people against the privileged, for democracy and for union, were battles that face every generation. They certainly face ours. 65 years ago, when he was dedicating the Jefferson Memorial, FDR closed by quoting the immortal words, I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. In that voice from the past, from the man who made Monticello, lies a vow worth keeping in our own time and for all times. Thank you very much.